to entertain the case. Recall that following the declaration of a state of emergency, the incorporated trustees of Reeves Bridge filed a suit against President Tinubu, the federal government, Attorney General of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation AGF, the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN, and IBAS. The group sought an order mandating the defendants to return, refund, and or pay back any monies in the Consolidated Revenue Fund belonging to River State released, appropriated, and or expended after March 18 when the president made the declaration. But ruling on the current suit, Omotosho held that since the application stemmed from the emergency rule matter, it is only the Supreme Court that has the exclusive jurisdiction to determine the legality of the presidential proclamation. Meanwhile, fresh pressure is mounting on the former Rivers Sole Administrator. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, says it received a petition asking them to investigate how Rivers State former Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, handled the state's money while in office. The petition was sent by a lawyer and human rights activist, Deji Adeyanju, only a few days after Ibas completed his time as sole administrator on September 18. The spokesperson of ICPC, Demola Bakare, confirmed on Thursday in Abuja that the commission has received the petition. He said the petition has already been sent to ICPC's legal department for proper review. As you may know, Adeyanju is asking the ICPC to look closely into all the financial activities of Ibas during his administration from March 18 to September 17. According to official figures from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Adeyanju claimed the River State received about 283.3 billion naira during Ibas's time. This amount does not internally generate revenue. Out of this figure, 36.6 billion naira came as local government allocations for January and February 2025, which were earlier withheld. The rest, about 246.7 billion naira, came as state and local government allocations between March and June 2025. Despite this large sum of money, Adeyanju alleged that there was little or no evidence of real development carried out by Ibas's administration. Just last Wednesday, Ibas was in Aso Rock, Abuja, for a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu. Also present at the meeting were the chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, and the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu. Now, that meeting happened only 3 days after Ibas refused the request of the River State House of Assembly to probe how he spent funds during his 6 months in charge. So far, the presidency has not released any official statement about the purpose of that meeting with President Tinubu. Moving on now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has thrown out a case challenging the state of emergency declared in Rivers State on March 18, 2025. Justice James Omotosho ruled that the 5 plaintiffs who filed the suit lacked the legal authority to do so, noting that only the Supreme Court can decide on such a matter. He also said none of them was a member of the state executive, the House of Assembly, or had the approval of the Attorney General to file on behalf of Rivers people. The judge upheld President Tinubu's claim that the emergency was necessary to prevent a breakdown of law and order, dismissing the case as frivolous and baseless. You'll recall that the declaration suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the Rivers State House of Assembly for 6 months, while an administrator was appointed to run the state. In a related judicial development, a River State High Court in Port Harcourt has struck out a case filed by the chairman and members of the Local Government Service Commission who were appointed by Governor Siminalayi Fubara but later removed by former sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas. The claimant, including Goodlife Idiokuben, Amadi Christian Echele, and Chimenem Jerome, had challenged their removal and replacement with another set of appointees. But at the hearing, their lawyer, Kelechi Ubadi, said his clients had decided to discontinue the matter in the interest of peace and progress in the state. While counsel to the defendant pushed for a dismissal, presiding judge, Justice Frank Onyiri, ruled that the application lacked merit. He struck out the case as requested by the claimant but declined to award costs. Turning to politics in Rivers State, the decision of Governor Siminalayi Fubara to relieve commissioners and aides affected by the Supreme Court ruling of their duties is generating reactions. A public affairs analyst, Obinwa Kanwa, says the governor's action is a respect to the Supreme Court judgment and not political weakness. Mr. Akanwa gave this explanation during a chat with correspondent Obi Oruware.
The fact that he has allowed few others who possibly may have been screened by the Amehule-led assembly. It means that he has a recourse and respect for court decisions. His supporters will see it that, look, our leader is conforming to laid down rules and laws, and most importantly, decision of a court of that higher hierarchy. They can't interpret it differently.
Also, he says the governor took the right step to ensure that the peace pact he signed with the FCT minister before President Bola Tinubu are not truncated.
The governor is trying to recover some lost grounds. It is within his constitutional powers as the head of the executive to relieve political appointees of their positions when he deems it necessary and appropriate. You can't win all at the same time. There are times when you allow few things to go, and that is just the position. He found himself in a very precarious position.
On the national scene, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has dismissed reports that he plans to step down for another presidential aspirant ahead of the 2027 elections. In a statement, his media aide, Paul Ibe, says the claims are a misrepresentation of Atiku's recent interview with the BBC Hausa service. He explained that both the video and transcript of the interview showed Atiku never suggested or implied that he would step down for anyone. In the meantime, INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has warned that delays in passing the legal framework for the 2027 elections could affect the Commission's preparations. Receiving a delegation of the European Union Election Observation Follow-up Mission in Abuja, Professor Yakubu urged the National Assembly to fast-track actions on the electoral reform proposals. He noted that reforms in the judiciary, administration, and constitution are still slow, while transparency in result publication remains unresolved. We go on a quick break. When we come back, we will tell you that a police corporal, Uniport student arrested for alleged courtesan. Stay with us.
To thrive in a fast-changing world.
Info.
You're welcome back. The Rivers State Police Command has arrested 2 suspected cultists, including a police corporal, and recovered several firearms and other dangerous weapons. The suspects, identified as Corporal Onwe Godwell, attached to Edinburgh Division, and Ifeanyi Israel, a 200-level biomedical technology student at the University of Port Harcourt, were arrested on September 26 at about 4 p.m. A statement by Police Public Relations Officer SP Grace Iringi Koko said the arrest took place during activities marking the signing out of final year students at the University of Port Harcourt. SP Iringa Koko said the university's internal security team had confronted the suspects in anticipation of a cold clash on campus before operatives from the police anti-cultism unit were dispatched to the scene and arrested them. A search of the suspect led to the recovery of 2 locally made pistols, 4 live cartridges, 2 rounds of 9mm live ammunition, and 1 small axe. And the police command said the suspects are currently in custody and that an in-depth investigation has begun to determine their involvement in cult-related activities as well as to trace any accomplices. And also, the management of the University of Port Harcourt has banned signing out ceremonies carried out by final year students. The decision, which took immediate effect from Thursday, was contained in a statement signed by the Dean of Student Affairs, Professor Chima Nwokota. According to the directive, final year students will no longer be allowed to sign on T-shirt either during their examinations or within the premises of examination venues. The statement further warned that students who arrive for examinations with security escorts will have their cars impounded. It said any security operative found escorting students into exam hall will be arrested and handed over to the Rivers State Commissioner of Police. It also said all gatherings of final year students after their examinations are prohibited and parents or guardians are advised to stay away from exam venues. It added that photographers who attempt to set up platforms at examination venues will be arrested. The management emphasized that any student or group of students who violate these rules will be referred to the Students' Disciplinary Committee. In another development, the Nigeria Bar Association (NBA) says the Nigeria Police Force's NPF decision to enforce the tinted glass permit policy despite a suit against it is unlawful. In a letter dated October 1st and addressed to the Inspector General of Police, the NBA's section of Public Interest and Development Law, SPIDL, faulted the statement released by the police pertaining to the suit. In September, the NBA filed a public interest suit against the police to challenge the legality of the tinted glass permit policy. The policy, which was initially billed to take off on June 1st before being shifted to October 2nd, requires motorists to obtain annual permit for tinted glasses through a digital portal. The NBA argued that the directive violates rights to dignity, privacy, freedom of movement, and property. Away from that, there will be no monthly sanitation this weekend. The monthly sanitation exercise scheduled for this Saturday, October 4th, has been cancelled. Chairman of the River State Waste Management Agency, Dr. Samuel Wanosike, announced this after meeting with Governor Siminalayi Fubara in Port Harcourt. He says the governor wants a new approach to tackling sanitation in the state.
After consulting with the leader of the state, we have been properly assured of all the support we need to be able to make sure River State is clean. Subsequently, we also want to seize the opportunity to inform the people of River State that the originally proposed environmental sanitation exercise that was supposed to hold on the 4th of October is hereby put off until further notice. This is to allow us build more capacity. The governor wants a different approach.
The Ruama boss also adds that Governor Fubara has promised to support Ruama with initiatives, including the provision of a new dump site.
It is the governor's wish that our people live in health. His Excellency has also given directives on actions to take, and days after now, Rivers people will enjoy the dividends of democracy in the actions of making sure our refuse are properly managed, provision of new dump sites, properly managed dump sites, landfill engineered dump sites, and giving us all the infrastructures we need to make sure that we are able to achieve the needed results.
Meanwhile, the agency's managing director, Dr. Ibimina Awokoma, is urging residents to keep their surroundings clean despite the cancellation.
The fact that the environmental sanitation exercise following the advice of His Excellency has been put off for the 4th of October, and then when better arrangements have been made, does not mean that we should go and sleep. Sanitation is everyday exercise. So we urge each and every one that while we are not observing the exercise, you can still observe it in your homes. We advise you to still make sure that your refuse are properly bagged. Dumping of waste on the median and on the drainages are still prohibited, whether we are observing the sanitation or not. They're the receptacles. Thank you and God bless you all.
On a sad note, an unconfirmed number of persons have lost their lives in a tanker fire accident that occurred at midnight along the Abeokuta-Sagamu Expressway. The spokesperson for the Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Agency, Babatunde Akimbiyi, said the fire began at about 1 a.m. today, Friday. According to Akimbi, a petrol-laden 33,000-litre tanker overturned due to excessive speeding and spilled its content on the highway. He said the